Hi parents, I'm James Evans. I'm here today with Dr. Jimmy Sullivan, our Director of Schools. And just like last time, we're going to do a dad joke off at the end of the video here. So stay tuned and let us know who you think told the best dad joke.
Did you win last time?
I think that I got more votes.
Yeah, just by one.
A lot more votes than you did. Clearly won that one. Yeah. And I'll, of course, win today as well. But on a serious note, we do these directors updates so that we want to keep parents informed about the board meetings when we had those. We had those last week. And so I'm going to talk to Dr. Sullivan a little bit about that so that he can inform me about what happened at the board meeting. So one of the most important things that you all did at the board meeting last week was you talked about the zoning at each school and looked at capacity numbers and things like that. What was the purpose of it?
So last week we actually had a pretty light agenda for a typical board meeting. So we took a little bit of time on our work session on Tuesday and our actual board meeting on Wednesday, and we looked at the zones, the capacity, and the enrollment of each one of our schools. If you wanted to go back and look at the videos that are posted on YouTube and on our website to be able to see what we discussed our elementary schools on Tuesday, then we discussed our middle schools and high schools on Wednesday, just to give you a frame of reference. So what we're looking at, we know that growth continues to be an issue that we struggle with in Rutherford County, which is great because we have a lot of people that want to move here, but it creates some logistical challenges for our school system. So we went through and really looked at each zone, each school, the enrollment, the capacity, and just started that conversation around what are the next steps we need to do to make sure that our students are getting the best education possible.
We also have a company the board has hired to help us look at some of those zones and suggest changes. We'll get a report back from them a little bit later this year, right?
We'll get our first report back on just our enrollment and how that is growing in December. They'll give us a zoning boundary in April, and then they'll give us just an overall view of maybe using some spaces different in May.
And then at the end of last week, you also participated in a strategic planning retreat with the board. Can you tell us a little bit about what the purpose of that was and some of the things you guys accomplished at that meeting?
Yeah. So ultimately, our job is to make sure we're educating our students and making sure that they're safe. We also are a huge company. We have over 50,000 kids. We've got over 6,000 employees, and we want to make sure what we're doing is strategic and meeting what our mission, our vision, and our goals are. So we took Thursday and Friday as a board and director of schools, and we took time just revisiting what our mission was, what our vision was, and then how do we outline goals so that even looking as far as our resources when we get into our budget season coming up, that we make sure we align everything to what our mission, vision, and goals are.
All right, and then we have a math book, textbook adoption this year. What's the process and how can parents be more involved in that process?
Yeah, so we are right in the middle. The state of Tennessee does textbook adoptions and standards revisions, which are the things your kids learn at each grade level. And so we are starting a textbook adoption. We have the actual committees are posted on our website under curriculum and instruction. You'll see a math textbook adoption. We don't actually know which textbooks we will be able to choose from yet. The State Department of Education, the State Board of Education actually votes on those final textbooks on October 28th. From there, our teachers and a couple parents that principals submitted will go through over the next 4 months, view those textbooks. They're open for public consumption as well, for you to look at those books, and there'll be links to all of those options as well. Those textbooks won't actually go in place until next school year, however. The other part in talking about math, I think it's good, especially for our students that are going from 8th to 9th grade and then our high school students. We will be switching back next year to the more traditional Algebra 1, Algebra 2 geometry, away from that Integrated 1, Integrated 2, and Integrated 3. A lot more information to come on that, but at least want parents to be aware of that.
Yeah, one quick note, just in case you had this on your calendar. This upcoming Saturday, we had originally planned for something called the Strategic or the School Partnership Fair. It was going to be held at Siegel High School with lots of local churches and agencies. We need to regroup on that because we didn't have as many agencies sign up as we had hoped, and so we're going to reschedule that for the future. So this weekend's fair is being postponed, just in case you're planning to come to that. We'll have more information later. Now, you may have noticed today that Dr. Sullivan is wearing his Vanderbilt colors, and I'm wearing my MTSU tie. We are both supporters of these schools, but we do think it's important that we acknowledge something a significant accomplishment that happened this past Saturday, and Dr. Sullivan loves to talk about this topic, so I'm going to let him take it.
Congratulations, I will say, to the state of Tennessee and the University of Tennessee's football team. That is not the university that I root for, but I can at least be happy for our state. I'm an alumnus of MTSU, TSU, and Lipscomb, and just happen to be a diehard Vanderbilt fan.
Yeah, absolutely. Anytime we can beat Alabama at anything, we like to celebrate that. So even though it came from a different university than we would have preferred, we still congratulate all those fans. We have a lot of people locally, of course, who are celebrating that. Okay, so now it's the time for the dad joke off. Dr. Sullivan, why don't you start out first?
So
Since you lost last time,
I will.
I want to let you have the courtesy of first.
And this happens to be my 20th high school reunion this week, so I'm going to give a joke that one of our former classmates who is no longer with us actually used. And so her joke was, why don't you play cards in the jungle? It's because there's too many cheetahs. I'm not even sure if cheetahs live in the jungle, but it was a joke that's always been there.
Well, I'm glad to know that you were not like a biology professor.
I'm not sure that actually
you were
goes
a math
together.
teacher, so that's fine. Okay, so my joke, just so you know, is what's the difference between a hippo and a zippo?
I'm not sure.
Okay, one's really heavy and the other one's a little lighter. So that's
Zippo. I see,
Zippo.
see what you did there. Nice,
so
nice.
feel free to vote. Last time, like I said, I beat Dr. Sullivan, and I'm sure that
I'll take sympathy votes this time. It's fine.
All right, thanks again for all you do, and we're going to keep you informed as we move through the school year. We appreciate everything.